Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR. Fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
And we have Congressman Matt Van Epps is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Congressman, always great to have you on. And, of course, as a military guy, one of the first questions I'm going to ask you is, how do you think the war in Iran is going? And then I'll have some follow-ups on that.
Hey, Dan, good morning. Great to be with you as always. So I think Operation Epic Fury was the right call, and the president is executing peace through strength. The president tried to negotiate with the Iranian regime and had his negotiators there, and they were going back and forth. And at the end of the day, the regime had no interest in negotiating, had an interest in pursuing nuclear weapons, and that is a clear red line for this president and this administration. And so Operation Epic Fury was launched with very deliberate objectives, and I think it's the right call.
Let me ask you this, because some people are worried about the drones, and this was a bit of a conversation yesterday where we're doing a pretty good job of taking out, their missiles and bombing their facilities. But the worry is the Iranian drones and what the resources it takes to be able to take out those drones. And Iran is saying, and there's a big article in the Daily Mail today, they've been on this, where they're saying that Iran's secret weapon are these drones. And so I know that you may or may not have any intel or insight into this, but is there a worry on your end or the people that you speak to in the House of Representatives that this is going to turn into a longer-term war just because of the drone warfare that Iran is currently engaged in?
Well, Dan, I am very confident in our military and our armed forces in conducting this operation. They're the best at it. Our partner Israel has been just a great partner, and the drones do pose a threat, but we're working through the target list, and there are several objectives: destroy the Iranian regime's missiles, annihilate their navy. We've seen both of those happen. Ensure the terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the world. I mean, we're talking about a regime here whose policy is death to America and death to Israel. Hundreds of Americans were killed in Operation Iraqi Freedom by the Iranians, to include when I was deployed to Iraq in Operation OIF, and ultimately ensure Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon. And so our military is working through the target list and securing air superiority and also ensuring that those drones, which are low cost, one-way attack drones, they're capable. Very, very unfortunately, and it's sad, and my hearts go out to the families of our service members that were killed. They're in my thoughts and prayers, and just heroes. And that's still being fully investigated, but I think probable that it was a one-way attack drone. And so it's a real threat, and we have to take it seriously and continue to work through the target list.
I know that you've been involved in this. I guess it's a discussion, but the state of the military, Heritage Foundation is involved in this as well. It's happening in the House of Representatives. And I mean, I don't know about you, but it seems to me like the state of our military, given what we're seeing in Iran, is actually pretty good. What would you say the state of our military is from your perspective as a guy who is a veteran, but also now in the House of Representatives and involved in these discussions?
Absolutely. So our military is very strong. I was honored to be a part of Heritage, their 2026 Military Index conference. They unveiled, it's about a 600-page document. They're doing it every couple of years, and it evaluates a very comprehensive evaluation of the global threat of our armed forces. And what we're seeing today is, in all of these operations that have happened over the last couple of months, is that our military is the best in the world, and they're very capable. What the index shows too is when we're in a prolonged conflict, potentially against China, is that we have work to do to ensure that we're able to meet that threat. The Air Force, they're flying the oldest fleet in its history. The aircraft are averaging almost 30 years old. The Navy has shrunk from about 600 ships in 1990 to under 300 today, and well below what we need at 355 plus, probably 400 for that Indo-Pacific requirements. And so when Heritage evaluates the military, they're looking at...
Every day, excessive delays and denials from big insurers keep patients from accessing the care they need. And when care is urgent, these delays can be disastrous. These practices cost billions in wasteful spending, driving up costs for American families. But while big insurers put up barriers, America's hospitals and health systems are in your corner, navigating endless reviews and appeals to get you the care you need when you need it most. It's time to curb these harmful practices and put the focus back on patients. Brought to you by the Coalition to Strengthen America's Healthcare.
The two major conflicts, being able to operate those simultaneously, and specifically our pacing threat, which is China. And so we have work to do there. There's several things we've got to work on to include that structural risk, but ensuring that our industrial capacity is as modernized as possible, and the defense industrial base continues to improve.
There was a discussion yesterday, and it was controversial, and I want to ask you about it because I think that it is worthy of a conversation. The House of Representatives voted down very strong majority, both parties, this legislation, and it was brought forward by, I believe, Nancy Mace, and it would make public investigations into sexual harassment that was going on in Washington, D.C. And I want to give you a chance. A lot of people are talking about this that are within our audience. And you voted no on that legislation, that you felt like these kinds of investigations need to be kept under wraps. And so talk about why you voted no. One of the things that I would throw out there is that these are only allegations, and correct me if I'm wrong, but these would be allegations or accusations that would be made public. And so talk a little bit about that piece of legislation, the controversy, and why you voted no.
Yeah, Dan. Well, thank you for bringing it up. It's a really, really important topic. And, to start, there is no place for sexual harassment, for anything that is unethical in Congress. And Dan, I did vote yes on this piece of legislation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In the minority voting yes on that. But I think the bottom line here is that the colleagues that I've talked to and worked with in leadership, want to get this right, and to ensure that there is no sexual harassment, discrimination, no sexual relationships between members and their staff. I mean, just things that are inexcusable, that we have got to hold leaders, and especially public folks that have the public trust, at a higher standard. And so I am committed to doing that. I'm committed to working with leadership to ensure that the language is correct in it. And the folks that I've worked with and interact with on a daily basis, my colleagues here, they're great people, and I think the vast majority feel the same way that I do. Do the right thing, take care of your district, take care of the American people, and we've got to work to get that right and ensure that that we uphold those very high standards.
Yeah, I guess, and maybe you can explain it. So what basically happened is it was sent to committee. And so, what Nancy Mace and others are saying is that when it gets sent to committee, it essentially kills the bill and it never sees the light of day. So I guess that's where I'm confused. So was the vote then to send it to committee? Is that how that works?
Well, this was a floor vote yesterday, and so maybe we're talking about two different things potentially. So I think there was about a little over 350 members of Congress that voted yes on this yesterday. Mm-hmm. And so I think the bottom line here is we've got to get this right. I mean, this is the public trust, and the integrity of the office and of our actions have got to be at the highest standards. I take it very seriously. And anything else, any other legislation, anything else that comes across my desk here, along the lines of keeping the public trust and the integrity and ensuring that we have the most stringent standards, will always be at the very top of my list.
It is interesting because there is one of the things, and it's always been a frustration of mine, is sometimes with the legislation is sent to committee and ultimately it is to kill a piece of legislation. And so one of the things, and I'll see if I can get the leader of the committee, and I forget who it is now, but I'll see if I can get the leader of that particular committee on to talk about it as well. Because you're right, sexual harassment that has been going on a long time in Washington, D.C., and particularly in the House of Representatives. So we'll continue to talk about that. One of the other things, Congressman, that a lot of people are talking about is the issue of driver's licenses being given to illegal aliens. I know that the illegal aliens driving semis has been a very big deal and something that I know that I've been talking about a lot, quite a bit. Talk about the progress that is making in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad that you're talking about that, Dan. We had a subcommittee, a Department of Homeland Security subcommittee oversight hearing yesterday, part of the oversight subcommittee on this exact topic, and it's absolutely critical. California's issued 17,000 non-domiciled CDLs in 2025. These are illegal aliens that are coming here and getting commercial driver's licenses. And we had in Tennessee, we had in one of these incidents happen where the Biden administration granted a non-English speaking illegal alien work authorization, allowing him to obtain a commercial driver's license. That man went on to cause a multi-vehicle crash, killing one and injuring two others. It's absolutely unacceptable. And the oversight hearing that we had yesterday was very impactful. One of my colleagues from California had young Delilah Coleman and her family in the hearing room yesterday. And if the listeners will recall, this is one of the guests that the president had at the State of the Union, who unfortunately was rear-ended by an illegal alien driving an 18-wheeler who nearly killed her. She's about 7 years old and is having to learn how to walk again. And it's absolutely inexcusable. And we've got to get this right. These are tens of thousands of people like this on our roadways across America.
One of the things, and you're right, and this is a big issue, particularly in places like California, where Gavin Newsom and really California does seem to be the epicenter of illegal aliens getting these driver's licenses, and you're putting driver's licenses and semis in the hands of people who, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but illiterate in their own language, and then they come here and they're expected to be able to read road signs and be able to drive these big semis, and it has led to horrific results. And so glad you're on that. And with that, we'll say goodbye.